This is not only something that doesn't exist, it happens to be one of the most difficult vaccines ever attempted. That is exemplified by the very scientists that have been attempting to make this thing over the last several years. Here's some of their own sound bites.
The issue of safety, something that I want to make sure the American public understand. It's not only safety when you inject somebody and they get maybe an idiosyncratic reaction, they get a little allergic reaction, they get pain. There's safety associated. Does the vaccine make you worse? And there are diseases in which you vaccinate someone, they get infected with what you're trying to protect them with, and you actually enhance the infection. It's the worst possible thing you could do is vaccinate somebody to prevent infection and actually make them worse.
Dr. Fauci says he thinks this could be done as early as 12 to 18 months. That's really optimistic. Do extensive testing of this vaccine before you put it out there into millions of people, because I think there now is this kind of break the glass mentality of full speed ahead, cut the corners you need to cut. And I really, really, really hope we don't do that, because especially for a vaccine that you may be giving to tens of millions of people or more.
Vaccines have to be tested because there's precedent for vaccines to actually make diseases worse. And you really don't want to make it, you don't want to rush and treat 1 million people and find out you're making 900,000 of them worse.
One of the things that we're not hearing a lot about is the unique potential safety problem of coronavirus vaccines. This was first found in the early 1960s with respiratory syncytial virus vaccines. Some of those kids who got the vaccine actually did worse, and I believe there were 2 deaths in the consequence of that study, because what happens with certain types of respiratory virus vaccines, you get immunized, and then when you get actually exposed to the virus, you get this kind of paradoxical immune enhancement phenomenon. And we don't entirely understand the basis of it, but we recognize that it's a real problem for certain respiratory virus vaccines. That killed the RSV program for decades. Now the Gates Foundation is taking it up again. But when we started developing coronavirus vaccines, and our colleagues, we noticed in laboratory animals that they started to show some of the same immune pathology that resembled what had happened 50 years earlier. So we said, oh my God, this is going to be problematic.
It's very, very problematic, and we covered all of the details of these animal studies that Dr. Peter Hotez and Dr. Fauci are referencing in a show many weeks back. So if you want to get the truth on that, again, all you had to be doing is watching the High Wire. I hope you watched really the last 5 or 6 episodes around coronavirus, because you'll see that in the animal trials, the animals got more sick, many died, cytokine storms, a horrible reaction to the actual virus after it looked like the vaccine was perfectly safe. This is a serious problem. There's also another problem. Not only have most of scientists bailed out on making a coronavirus vaccine that we're now all waiting for, the vaccine unicorn, to show up, this is also the first ever mRNA vaccine using our RNA. This has been attempted now since the early 1990s. They have been trying to make a vaccine that uses a totally different approach. It doesn't just submit and trying to get antibodies. It tries to go into your cells. It tries to go in there and trick your cells into believing it's getting a messaging from the DNA through what's called the messaging RNA, that the DNA is telling it, create these proteins to protect yourself. Folks, they are spelunking into a place in the immune system they have never gone before, and they failed at it since the 1990s. So this is a very, very difficult situation.